So far we have defined the agent population, we have defined the behavior of the agents. Now it's time to define some variables and then sum up our simulation of this first scenario, in which all the parameters, all the stocks are equal for both the products, for both the companies. The only difference is the marketing strategy. So we start the final part of this market computation, and in this part, what we are going to do, we are going to add some variables and events and some events, and then we will run the simulation. So the first thing is the disclaimer. So this is the state chart that we have made in AnyLogic in our last video, and we have defined all the transitions. So in our first lecture, in the introduction of the problem, we discussed that in addition to making the state chart, we will be defining the stocks, and which, by the way, we have already done in, I think, the first or second lecture. And then we were going to define 4 variables and 1 event in the main. The purpose of defining these variables is to keep account of the users A and user B and see how their number progresses as the simulation goes on. And for tracking the adoptions, we are going to add an event as well, and this is the action we are going to write in the event for the event. So let's move to the AnyLogic. So this is the state chart that we developed. So now, after having done the state chart, we are going to go to the main, and I have already copied the instructions here, and we have discussed these instructions in our first video. So one thing, this is the basically the main canvas of the agent where our agent will be populated. So as we discussed in our first part, that this consumer has some parameters, and okay, there are some statistics already defined. I'll just delete them. So this is the consumer which has some parameters and its dimensions, and for the position we have already defined, I think, about its position and in the main. So for that, I'll click on the, if I just don't remember if we have defined. So if I just click on the main, and then it shows the agent in the main, that is consumers, and its dimensions, its layout type is random, and it has a width and height of 500 and 500. So 500 by 500 area will be the area in which our agent population will exist. So now coming back to today's final lecture about adding the variables and event. So I was telling you that this is the canvas, 500 by 500 canvas, in which the agents will populate. So we are doing this, adding these stocks and the variables here in this window. Okay, so in this way our variables and the stocks will not tangle with the simulation. So these are the stocks that we defined earlier. I'll just move them a bit forward. Now I am going to add 4 variables and 1 event. So I'll go to the palette library here in the palette menu. Here we have agent library, and here we have a variable sign, and I'll just drag it. So my first variable is current user A, and current user A, and it's an integer, and it has some initial value as well. So current user A, sorry, users A, just current users A, and the type is integer and the initial value is 0. Okay, so this we have defined a variable. Now if I just copy it by pressing Ctrl C and Ctrl V, I'll have another copy of the current user, and let's call it current users B. Now we will add another variable, cumulative user A. So again, Control C, Control V, and then we have this. The name is cumulative cumulative users A, and cumulative users A, and then again copy pasting it, we will have cumulative users B. All the settings are same, that is type is integer, initial value is 0. So we have defined all the 4 variables. Now we have to define uh, an event to track the adoptions. So I'll just drag this event to the main canvas and I'll name it as the track adoptions, and its trigger type is the timeout, which already is chosen, default timeout, and the mode is cyclic, and the recurrence is 1 day. And in the action field here, we have to copy this code, and I've explained this code in detail in the part 1, so I won't go into details right now. You can always go back and watch the part 1. So instead of typing, I'll go back to my slides and I'll just copy all the code, Control C, and I'll paste here. So F7, and it says it's checking what's happening here. It's just compiling things, and yes, so there is no error here. So now I have added four variables and one event as well for tracking the options. And in order to visualize my data, I will add here a graph that will track the user A and user B. So what I am going to do, I discussed in my initial tutorials that I am going to add some statistics to the to my consumer. So the first statistic that I am interested is user A, and this is a count type statistic. And what I'm going to do is I am going to count the agent dot in state and consumer dot user A. Okay, press F7 to see if everything is okay. So it's good, all good. So I have added a statistic of user A, and I can just copy it here. So I'll get another statistic, and that is user A1, and then I'll change the name to user B, and that will be about the agents who are in state user B. So I have now added 2 statistics to my consumer population, that is I am counting the number of user A and user B. Now I'll add a chart to visualize this data, and I'll go to the uh, analysis, and here I have a time plot. So I'll add a time plot here, and this time plot, it will be it will have some data. So the data will be, let's call them user A, and its value will come from the statistic that we defined, and that was consumers, that were number of consumers and user A. Okay, press F7. So it says this is, and user A is not defined. So Let's see what's wrong with that. Okay, I'll go back to my to see what I have defined here. It is user A, user B, user A, user B. So I'll go back and see. Okay, so now the point is that I have an user A. So it's giving me the area some error. Let's see what's the error. It says and user A is not is it's not defined. So I'll just check it. Just give me a second. So there is this error, and it says that end user A is undefined. So the problem here is that in the consumer state, so for the consumer, I defined the statistic as user A, not end user A. So okay, so that was a very basic mistake, but it it really costs, it really wasted the time. So because I didn't, I just defined it as user A and user B, not and user A and user B. So when I was doing this chart, I added here and user A, and it gave me the error. So hopefully the error will be gone now. So I'll just add another statistic, and that is user. I'll just copy paste as user of A. So this will be user of B, and consumer of end user B. Okay, so now I have copied, I have defined these two statistics. So make some more refinements to our chart. So update dot data automatically, use click this thing, recurrence time is 1 day, and display up to 365, that is a year. So time window should be 365 model units. Vertical scale can be fixed, and let's keep it to 5000, the number of agents. So I think all good. So I'll just so all good, seems all good. So okay, here now one more thing is simulation main, and here the stop time is never, we'll say stop at a specified time. The time is 365. So simulation main is 365. Run configuration, that doesn't make a difference, but simulation main is the main thing here. So stop time is 365. So hopefully everything is good. We run our simulation, we save this, and then run our simulation and see how the things go. So okay, so this is our simulation. Because this is the, I'll just run it to the virtuals, the fastest possible speed. Now the reason that I placed all the events and the variables on the left hand side, because I didn't want them to be tangled with this area of the where the population will populate. So you can see that simulation is progressing. We are tracking the number of current users of A and the current users of B, and we are also looking at the cumulative users, the users who have used product A and B at any point of in our simulation are being counted in the cumulative user. So as can be seen that product A is leading, and because we have kept all the parameters same, so the only difference was marketing, and that's why the product A was the winner in this case, the market. So that's the end of this simulation. You can always tweak these parameters to have more interesting insights into this simulation. So that's all for the part for the scenario one. So in the next video lecture we will explore scenario 2, and we will see how the supply chain can affect the product adoption. So thanks for watching, stay tuned.